Mr. Mohammad Marandi is a professor with the University of Tehran, joining us now on the line from Beirut. Dr. Marandi, thanks so much for being with us. First of all, let's discuss the anti-Iran rhetoric that has been going on for days now. Do you think that this rhetoric is serious in terms of becoming rather happening and those threats being carried out, or do you think this is more of what others are saying is a psychological warfare against Tehran?
Well, it's impossible to say with certainty anything, but it seems highly unlikely that any military confrontation will take place, because at the end of the day, if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will respond in kind, and Iran's missile deterrent is quite powerful. Israel is much smaller than Iran, and Israel will suffer a lot more than Iran does. At the same time, this will also create a great deal of instability in the region. Public opinion will definitely side with Iran, and this at a time when many pro-American regimes in the region are unstable is not going to do any good to Israel or to the United States. So, and also you have to take into account the definite crises that European countries are facing, and as it is the United States. This will make any conflict will make things much worse for Europe and the United States. So I personally believe that it's unlikely for military conflict. But I think the real intention is to force countries to agree with the United States to increase sanctions on Iran. But again, this is something that is very dangerous, because if the Iranian people are hurt by the United States and its allies, the Iranian government will have no option but to inflict punishment on the United States and its allies in its own way. So it will only make the situation in the region more unstable.
Right, and all this is coming up after the leaking of the IAEA's report on Iran that's still to be released. First of all, do you think that leak could have been intentional at the specific time that it has come out? And also, if it was, what was it aimed at? And also, can you tell us, in your view, how authentic these claims are about Iran having the capability to develop nuclear weapons?
Well, the documents themselves are very old. This goes back to the laptop in 2004. And back then, the Americans said they have a laptop that proves that Iran's program has a military aspect to it. The Iranians told the IAEA to have the laptop scrutinized and studied by computer experts, and the Americans refused. And in fact, the Americans never even gave it to the IAEA. And so this itself shows that there's something seriously wrong here, and the documents are fabricated. And the documents that the Iranians were allowed to see, they weren't allowed to have a copy of the computer file. And you know that computer files, how easily they can be forged. The documents that the Iranians actually saw were full of inconsistencies in Persian and in many ways. And the Iranians gave a 117-page response to this 4 years ago. Al-Baradei himself, time after time, said the authenticity of these documents for him are not established. And this is very significant. All the information that the current chief of the IAEA is giving out now are those old documents. Yet the Western media is claiming that this is new information and so on, which one shows that the Western media is not independent. It is completely biased and is towing, at least the corporate media, towing the government line. But beyond that, what is also significant is that, as you said, the leaking. This is basically to put pressure on Iran to create a psychological atmosphere where Iran is perceived as a threat. If you recall, just a couple of weeks ago, the Americans made the absurd accusations that Iran is tried to assassinate the Saudi ambassador to the United States. So if you put all these together, you can clearly see that the United States is attempting to create a psychological atmosphere where they could put pressure on Iran.
Okay, I'm afraid we've run out of time. Thank you very much, Professor Mohammad Marandi with Tehran University, joining us there on the line from Beirut.